From 1975 to 2023, $79 trillion has been redistributed from the bottom 90% of American workers to the top 1%. The wealthiest 134,000 households own more in equity than the combined total wealth of the entire bottom 50%, or 66 million U.S. households. And this is not an accident. We hear it every single day from someone on the news. The economy is great. America is thriving. We have the strongest economy in the world. Okay, but that's not reflected in my grocery bill. That's not reflected in my rent, my car insurance. Everyone I know is working longer and longer and getting poorer and poorer. I'm sure Larry Ellison and whoever the CEO of Chase Bank is are doing great, but the vast majority of the country isn't. Wall Street, big tech, and the permanent bureaucracy, they learned how to print prosperity for themselves while the middle class gets completely hollowed out. On purpose, by design, and with both parties looking the other way. Let me tell you a story that you already lived through, most likely. 2008 blows up. Regular people lose their homes, their jobs, their savings. What happens next? Washington and the Fed rush in with a giant safety net for assets, not for you. The government provided hundreds of billions of dollars to support major banks and corporations. The Fed lowered its interest rate to near zero. It also initiated rounds of large-scale asset purchases, known as quantitative easing, where it bought trillions of dollars in U.S. Treasury and mortgage-backed securities. These policies boosted the value of financial assets, like stocks and real estate, which is obviously overwhelmingly owned by wealthier individuals. So great. Asset values skyrocket while employment rates and real wages, the things that most people depend on, don't. If you owned a lot of assets, your net worth exploded. If you owned nothing but a paycheck, your rescue was inflation on everything you need and appreciation on everything you can't afford. Fast forward to the lockdowns. Tell me who won here. Your favorite family restaurant? Your barber? The gym owner who knows your kids' names? Probably not. They were told to shut down for 2 weeks, then 2 months, then, guess you're going out of business now. Meanwhile, Amazon ran 24/7 and ate the whole retail world. Big box chains got to stay essential, while your favorite little boutique got boarded up. The policy didn't kill commerce. It concentrated it. And now we pretend that concentration just happened. No. Someone or some people made it happen. That's the Wall Street chapter. Here's the big tech chapter. We created a handful of digital gatekeepers who own the entire public square, the ad network underneath it, and the data about us we never agreed to hand over. They decide who gets seen, who gets demonetized, who gets vanished. If you're a small business, your survival depends on paying the toll. Boost your post, buy the search term, blah, 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 while the platform changes rules mid-game and decides to take a bigger cut next quarter. If you're a creator, you build your audience for years, and a slight algorithm change can send you to zero overnight with no support number to even call. This has happened to me multiple times. If you're a citizen, you watched viewpoints get buried by misinformation teams that turned out to be wrong, and nobody loses their job for it. The rules are secret. The referees are invisible. And yet this is where businesses are going to find customers, where media is going to break news, and where we all go as the massive public to discuss literally anything. And then there's what people call the administrative state. The agencies you didn't elect, but who write the rules you have to live under. They can stall a small town's new housing for 5 years, but they can help a well-connected developer get a waiver in 5 weeks. They can audit a landscaper with 2 trucks down to the freaking penny, but when billions go missing in some random government contract with an enormous corporation, poof, it's just gone. You feel that, right? This isn't a conspiracy. That's the reality of a system that rewards size, lawyers, and access. Things regular people, regular businesses don't have. Now I'm going to say something that will probably annoy you because it's so cliche. This is up versus down. This is not left versus right. For decades, both parties signed off on a model where the winners get cushions and the rest of us get lectures. On Wall Street, that looked like bailouts for systemic risk and too big to fail. In tech, that looked like letting few firms vacuum up all the competitors while Congress pretended not to notice. In the bureaucracy, it looked like layers of rules that big companies love because they have compliance departments, while little guys drown. And every single time someone asked, hey, what about normal families? You got some crap, divisive talking point. My president's annualized GDP is higher than your president's annualized GDP. Look, it's great when unemployment is down. It's great when the stock market is up. It's great when gas is 3 cents cheaper. But why does it feel like the majority of America is thankful for scraps, while a select few can just move legislation to their benefit with a single DC meeting? Let's take a second and talk about your life, how this affects people like us. What did 0% interest rates combined with asset inflation do to housing? It just turned the American dream into another opportunity for Wall Street funds and foreign money to outbid you in cash. What did it do to education? It flooded the system with loan money that let colleges raise prices every single year while handing you a piece of paper that won't even help you pay off the debt. Healthcare? We built a labyrinth where prices go up faster than wages. Nobody can explain the bill, and only people who fully understand the system are the ones billing it. Good luck buying a car. Food, the temporary spikes in prices has just become the new normal. Wages, well, we know how bad wages are lagging. And if you ever open your eyes long enough to realize that what's happening may be a bad thing, if you ever open your mouth to complain about this systemic change and seemingly intentional transfer of wealth, you just get blamed for making poor decisions or for being lazy. As if what happened to the middle class is just a long string of bad personal choices and not a design where crisis interest rate manipulation helps people already holding onto a lot of capital. Regulation only affects the little guy, and the people who enforce the rules often used to work for the companies they're regulating, or will go to work for them after. Now, how did they rig it so neatly? Let's start with the Fed. When borrowing money is nearly free for a decade, the people that already have all the access win pretty nicely. That's why Wall Street borrowed cheap, bought assets, bought back their own stock, juiced share prices, and paid themselves for performance. Did productivity skyrocket? Not really. Financial engineering did. Meanwhile, savings accounts earned nothing, and the essentials you need quietly rose. This is called the Cantillon effect, if you want the econ term for it, but I just call it us getting screwed. Add the revolving door into the mix too. Staffers and agency lawyers, they write all the rules, and then they leave for K Street where all those lovely lobbyist groups ruin our country. And then they come back to help implement the same rules they helped their clients navigate. Do you see how this works? It's amazing how the language always sounds neutral and the outcomes always slope towards the people who can afford a retainer. Big tech does the same thing. Hire the regulators, then invite the rest to a working group. The regulators often come from the same firms they regulate. So the rules pretty often end up favoring those enormous firms. And while I'm ranting anyways, why does every single crisis end up requiring emergency powers that effectively lock in and legitimize the dominance of existing market leaders? Instead of promoting competition, government action unintentionally or maybe intentionally reinforces the power and position of major corporations, making it impossible for smaller businesses to challenge them or to even survive in a lot of cases. We're always told it's temporary. It never is. The board is permanently different after every single temporary fix. I want real capitalism back. You know, the kind where you build something people want and you win because customers choose you, not because a regulator kneecapped all of your competition. I am pro-business, but real capitalism has losers who learn and try again, not losers who call their senator for a backstop. Real capitalism loves small businesses because they keep prices honest and ideas fresh. What we have right now is a weird financialized corporate cosplay for prosperity, where every single press release sounds like we're making incredible progress, while the middle and lower class continue to fall further and further behind. I want to paint a picture for you really quick. Imagine your grandparents right now, back when they were in their 20s or 30s. Or if yours weren't living in the States, imagine you're one of your friends' grandparents that you might have met before. Perfectly content middle-class Americans. They bought a nice little house. One person worked and the other stayed home to raise multiple children in that home. Every day, the kids would go to a school where they were taught by a teacher that was living in that same neighborhood as you. If you needed to replace a broken piece of wood on your back deck, you'd go down the street to a hardware store owned by a family you knew. Now, think about today. 2 incomes and your family is still struggling. Rent's up, groceries are up. You don't trust your teachers at all. And if you need anything, you're just going to go to another major chain nearby that sells everything at a cheaper price because they're the only people that are able to. This country no longer feels like it's on your side. And that's not just your imagination. Elites will say that this is just nostalgia. It isn't. It's the way things should be. And it's a reminder that we built a middle class once on purpose. And we can do it again on purpose. We have to do it again. Or else this country will completely fall apart. And we are fully capable of doing it.